Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today for another summer edition of the Holtecast. Obviously, no match last week to review, so we're going to look at some other things. Club business for the summer, a lot of players hopefully joining, some leaving the club. But, anyways, Robert's here with me as always, so let's start with the players that left the club. Unfortunately, losing Marc Albrighton was kind of a big blow.
Yeah, that's a move that I still can't make any sense of whatsoever. It just sort of baffles me as to why we would do that. Do you see any reason to get rid of Albrighton?
No, because I was actually really thinking about it a lot, and if Mark's not in the plans for the manager or the club in the future, that's fine. That's a reason to let them go. If there's someone better at that position that you would want to play instead of Mark, fine, let him go. But those aren't good reasons because one, it looks like Lambert's probably going to stay with the 4-3-3, and Mark should start at right wing there. Two, he could provide valuable cover or play somewhere else in other formations, so it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Do you think Lambert's going to stay with the 4-3-3?
Uh no. I think he's gonna bunker and we're gonna be sitting in a 5-3-2.
A
A five
5-3-2. So
but he could even play right mid in a 5-4-1.
yeah, you're still there's no reason not to have Albrighton around. He can still play
No,
that
and
right wing position, whether you're doing 4-3-3, 5-3-2, anything like that. I agree.
or even a 5-2-3 with two pretty defensive midfielders and you let the wingbacks kind of go forward. I guess we're gonna get to the
Jesus, the idea of a
forward.
5-2-3 at Villa makes me want to throw things.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we might see next year might make everyone want to throw things.
I mean,
Hopefully not. We're gonna get to some summer signings later in a bit. Also, Nathan Delfineso leaving the club. We'd kind of known this was gonna happen for a while. A couple years ago, it looked like maybe he'd get a chance to break into the team. Never really happened. Various reasons. Spent some loan spells toiling in the lower leagues, but yeah, best of luck to him elsewhere, I guess. Looks like
yeah, I
Mark's
mean,
going to Leicester City.
yeah, I was a little
Which,
sad about the Delfineso thing.
yeah,
He
I
was
mean, you just go play FIFA '09 if you or like Football Manager like a couple years ago. You want him to pan
if
out into a
if
great.
you want to see the glory that could have been. I mean, it's so sad to think of, some of the prospects that we all think of as so highly touted and they don't pan out. It makes you worried for players like Jack Grealish for.
Yeah, but on the same hand, maybe getting some more players kind of out of the way could, I don't know, maybe pave the road for those players to break into the first team.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I literally just posted it, so you may not have seen it yet, and people listening may not have had a chance to read it yet. But I wrote something about the end of Delfineso's career at Coventry City, and the local beat writer for the Coventry Telegraph wrote a damning article about Delfineso. Essentially, yeah, he had a thigh injury, but eventually it became more mental than it was physical,
That's what can
and
happen for strikers a lot of times. If you go on a big goal duck and you half of it's got to be mental at least. You know you've scored goals in the past, but just a couple month long dry spell and you just don't have any confidence.
yeah, I mean, we did see that at Villa with Andy this season.
Exactly.
I mean, he looked
Even
lost in front of goal.
Benteke when he was a bit injured, but still.
Yeah, absolutely. It is definitely more of an issue with strikers, I think, than anyone else because they really only have one job, and if you keep
Yeah, well, I
screwing that
mean,
up,
yeah, at least a lot of center forwards, yeah, because like Andy, when he's in good form and scoring, you see him popping up all over the field, just doing other stuff, helping the team. It looks like a couple matches we didn't even hear the commentator call his name once. I think.
yeah, I mean,
Where that
just
was
look
my
at the
man like.
improvement, the improvement in what little we got to see of him because of the way we played, but how much better Andy looked against Manchester City than he had for most of the season. After
Yeah,
he
just
scores
when
those
he's
two.
deployed, I've been saying it for like forever, I think, but when he's deployed centrally, he's he's the player that he should be. When he's shafted out to the wing, there's not that much he can do.
Yeah, he doesn't really have that ability to go from the wing and cross his way in. I mean,
Yeah,
he can.
maybe if he was played on the left wing because his left foot isn't very good, but if he was able to cut in and shoot,
Yeah,
you see some of the incredible goals that he scored in the cup, like earlier this season and also last season from a good range.
Yeah, what was it? Which team was Rotterdam or no? The
Rotherham.
Rotherham. Yeah, God, Rotterdam would be a totally different cup. But yeah, Rotherham. That goal that he scored against them was incredible this year.
Exactly.
And
He needs
so
more opportunities to shoot the ball, and that's in a two-striker formation or something. But I mean, we didn't even
play.
plan to talk about this today, I guess. But
Whatever. I mean,
yeah,
it's the summer. You and I were talking
yeah.
beforehand.
So I mean, we'll get to Darren Bent later too, but it looks like he's going to be back, maybe in the plans.
And does he take away from Andy, or does everyone recognize that even a kind of poor Andy is better than a mostly fit Darren Bent?
Yeah, but Darren Bent for coming on for 20 minutes at the end of the match when you need a goal, I like that.
Yeah,
I
I
like
can
that a
see that
lot.
too. Is he going to be content with that?
And instead of we're gonna get to this in a minute too, but if you already have the players there and like I mean you probably want to bring in a better striker, but are Villa gonna be able to bring in a better striker for what money they're gonna have? And I think Darren Bent could actually be useful, but
Yeah,
it looks
absolutely. I
like
think he's going to fill
yes,
a role when he gets here.
or at least he's gonna fill a spot on the bench, one of the seven.
and thus keep Yakuba Silla off of that bench.
Yeah, I mean everyone's got to do something. Like it looks like hopefully we're gonna see a lot of Gary Gardner next year. He just signed a new contract for 2 years.
Yeah, so
And
what do you think of
I
that?
think 2 years is a great length
Yeah.
because well Gardner he wasn't going to be on massive wages obviously, which I guess looked 35,000 I guess massive is what Albrighton looked like he's getting from Leicester City, which was the I guess the straw that broke
Which
Lambert's
is a
back in
little
that
absurd.
situation.
I think we can be fair on that, right?
What? You think that's a
It's
lot?
for Albrighton?
Whatever. We just made so much money from the TV money. Like,
Yeah, but
get over it. You're gonna have
you
to
know,
spend money.
yeah, but Lerner's obviously not going to spend money. And there was a quote from Lambert today that none of that TV money is coming to him.
Oh yeah, I mean he's just probably like it's like you get all your Christmas presents and you can't open them. Like look at all these things.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. So it
it's not
makes me
mine.
wonder what Villa are going to use that 70 million for, but it will not
To
be for
pay
players.
off learners' loans from the club. I don't know.
Yeah,
The first parachute payment for when we get relegated next season. Christ. But yeah,
that
I think 2 years is a really good length because it's gonna be cheapish, and like he had injury problems, and look at what happened to Fabian Delph this season after he was able to stay injury free.
Yeah,
And
I'm starting to wonder if maybe Fabian Delph gave us all too much hope. I mean, look at a player a player who
I
was
hope not.
a player who was crap suddenly became amazing, and now we're
He
like,
wasn't crap. He was injured. I mean, he got a it was a big money move from Leeds.
he was, yeah, I suppose, but he never really lived up to that money, right? What was it, 9.5 million to bring him in?
I don't know. He bought Downing for a lot when he was injured. It's not a good. I think it's pretty stupid to buy people when they are in fact injured. But if you already have them and he's been in the youth setup for a while,
And Downing
and
turned out pretty well for Villa, though.
yeah, and Downing turned out great.
And then we sold
Even
him
better.
on,
He
and he
turned out even
turned
better
in
for Liverpool.
one of the greatest moments. Oh
That's
God,
like
screw Stuart
a,
Downing. I
a
hate that
double
guy.
whammy. Yeah.
But I mean,
Dude,
he gave
you
us
have a
one
Downing
really
shirt
good
lying
year.
around somewhere?
Yeah, I do. It's in my closet. He spent 6 months as my favorite player, and then just became unwanted.
I think that happens to everyone. I didn't buy a Delph shirt this year. I wanted to, but I I decided against it.
Last summer, when they put last year's shirts on clearance, I bought one, and I very nearly got Andy Vyman on it. Then I was like, no, I like
You might
Andy.
as well have, based on the season he had.
Well, yeah, in
Okay, so
retrospect,
their shirts they're on sale again, or last week they were or something. The
like
shipping
10
cost is
pounds.
more than the shirt.
Yeah,
Shipping
exactly.
cost to the U.S. is more than the shirt. So I was okay. I thought the home shirts looked pretty good this year because they're like the kind of a throwback, I guess, but the sponsor, eh.
Yeah, I actually I didn't mind the sponsor. I liked the yellow because it goes with the yellow on the
Yeah,
crest.
yeah.
But I actually really liked the away kits this year.
I really like the away kits, and the green kits are great as well. I think
Green
still.
kits are freaking fantastic. Did we wear those
We
twice this
should
year?
have we should have worn them. Make those the home kit next year. I feel like we always win when we wear those, like Liverpool away,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
or at least draw. At least draw
Yeah,
Liverpool. That's good
we
enough.
get a point, which is better than what we did for most of the end of the season.
That's exactly what we did for the whole season was a point per match. So I mean, I think we'll see a lot of that next year. We actually didn't have a terribly high amount of draws, and
No?
that was one of the I don't know one of the original reasons that I hated Fulham because it seemed like they would always draw a couple years ago when I started looking at stuff like that. I don't know, but
Yeah.
like, Fulham are boring. I hope they get relegated. Finally, they did. I kind of feel bad now, but
It's all your fault.
not my problem.
It's
Uh,
all your fault for saying you hope they get relegated.
yeah, a couple of years ago.
Uh-huh, absolutely. I don't know,
Yeah,
let's see.
I mean they got what they deserved because they didn't spend any money that last summer, and they got a new owner come in. I'm scared for if that could happen to Villa.
Yeah. Villa actually were tied with the eighth most draws in the league
Yeah,
this
so
year.
kind of a lot.
Yeah, but
The
at the same
The
time, it
Baggies
was
would draw every game, I feel like.
15 this year from the Baggies.
Yeah.
And they stayed up on the strength of those 15 draws.
Well, I guess it's stupid to say, or obvious, but when you're drawing, you're preserving your goal difference fairly well. Like,
15 matches in which they didn't hurt their goal difference.
yeah, like it's not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, I guess it's like,
No.
um, but yeah, it looks like Villa not going to have very much money this summer. Maybe you thinking it's going to be 15 million?
Yeah, that's the number I've been seeing thrown around. After that initial report I saw of 7 million, which made me, panic. I've been seeing 15 million tossed around, and I think that's a number with which they could actually get a lot done. Well, not a lot, with which they could get the necessary things done.
The thing is, there aren't a terribly high number of needs. I think if you address the needs and if you spend reasonably at those positions, coupled with staying injury free for the season, that's going to be the deal breaker, really. Can Villa
Yeah,
stay injury free?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, because like you and I talked about last week, and like I wrote about last week, this is almost exactly the same team that we started with last year. And last year, no
And
one.
I was actually kind of optimistic about that team.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was maybe a touch too optimistic. I was thinking
I
eighth
was
or
definitely
ninth.
a touch too optimistic.
But I mean, I think even the most realistic of people would not have said, "Oh yeah, they're going to be in a relegation fight." I think almost everyone would have said, "Yeah, they're comfortably mid-table, 12th or so."
Yeah, and I mean, I think you can't just go out from the beginning of the season and say, I hope we finish 12th. You have to try to finish first. You have to try to win every game, but that's really not realistic. And so maybe 10th is a fair target, you think?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. But I just think this is a squad that everyone last year picked to finish between 10th and 12th.
And
And
all the players in the squad, I think, at least most of them will have improved from last year.
yeah, absolutely. And we should hopefully see a full season from Yoris Sakura. Um, get a full season out of him, and that's going to help a bunch.
You think Nzogbia will be able to do anything?
Wouldn't it be nice if he could?
I want to see him play a cam.
The question is, which Inzaghi are we going to see? Because at the end of the, what was it, 2012-13 season, we saw a couple of decent performances out of him, but before that we'd seen nothing since he came over from Wigan.
Yeah, he was a player that really excited me when we bought him,
And then just turned into nothing.
yeah, I
Thanks,
don't know.
McLeish.
Thanks what?
Thanks, McLeish.
Oh, yeah, thanks Obama, but like,
The
I think
ginger terror.
what do oh my gosh, what do you think? What needs would you address with the 15 million? I think if there was some way to just get rid of Luna and Bennett, like trade someone, Luna and Bennett, for a
So,
left back, plus
so
we give them and Stevens, plus we give them a lot of money. I guess having one of them around as cover isn't bad, but if one of those three has to start, I think we're in a
I
lot of
like
trouble.
I like this trade that you're proposing. Listen. We know that you have a good left back, but we're gonna send you three shitty ones, and maybe if you can subvert the
And
rules and
five
play all
million
three.
and £5 million.
Maybe that would work then.
Because if you think about it like that, if you get 3 people off the wage bill, that's really good.
Yeah, but are any of those 3 people making a ton of money? Enda Stevens is not making a ton of money. Bennett is not making a ton of money. I don't think Luna is on particularly high wages.
All 3 of them combined were probably making less than half of what Ryan Bertrand was making, if you want to compare it like that.
Yeah, and
He
so
was on fat. He was making fat money at Chelsea, obviously.
yeah, he's making Abramovich money. But I
Oil
don't.
money.
I'm not so certain that getting rid of them is a huge priority. I mean, it would be nice because we don't need all 3, but I don't think it.
If there's anyone from that, I think Joe Bennett has the most promise, and maybe Stevens. But if you can
want
even
nothing
loan
to do
them
with
out and get
Stevens.
someone else to pay their wages for the year, like Luna costs like $1 million. That's like what Lerner finds in his couch.
Yeah, it's. I think with those 15.
Like if I'm Lambert and I have 15 million, I'm gonna buy a couple sports cars and a yacht and say we're parking the bus. I don't know.
One of the big questions that I have, because everyone says with the 15 million they'll be focusing on loans and frees. What then are wages going to go into that? You know, we heard today that Julian Lescott would come over for 45,000 per week.
That'd be considerable. That'd be half his money. I would never do that. I mean,
and that's apparently what he's saying.
I guess if he is a Villa fan though and he wants to play, that makes sense. It's someone at the end of his career.
He's apparently said he'll play wherever he can get Premier League first team play for 45,000 a week.
Wow. Okay, that's huge. I would love to have Lescott at Villa for 45,000 a week.
Exactly, and that
because
totally
I think
changes
Lescott
things.
for 45,000 a week, that really puts into perspective Albrighton for 35,000. I think Albrighton on 30K a week is reasonable, but 35, like you're pushing your luck, kid. Like all he has on the CV really is the 20,000th goal in Premier League history. That's okay.
Yeah,
He's gotten close to scoring a lot of times, but like it always hits a bar, like it's tipped over at the last second. Or I don't know. That's
a consistent.
That'll be my memories of him, I think.
Yeah,
really good crosser, but yeah. And I just don't want to see him just probably gets a hat trick against Villa and
that's inevitable.
Great.
We know that's happening. So you want to see a left back primarily. You at 45.
No, I want to see a defensive midfielder.
Okay, any ideas who you're looking for?
Alex Song.
Alex Song.
That's not reasonable. Jean McCoon. Michael Bradley.
You're breaking my heart right now, John McCoon. I loved John McCoon and the Argyle jumper so much.
Yeah.
You remember when we signed him and he wore that Argyle jumper and it became the thing for a week or so?
No, I don't remember that.
It was great. He had this delightful like Argyle sweater on.
Matching socks.
Probably.
Swag.
It was an absolute joy. I think a defensive mid would be helpful. At this point, regardless of priorities, if Lescott is available for free and 45,000 a week, sign him up.
For free?
That's been the talk, that he will be on a free transfer.
Okay, because look, you're talking about loan moves, right? Look at last summer. I look at Everton, and I think this included the wages, but Barry was 5 million, and so was Lukaku.
Yeah.
So, what about Lescott and Barry?
God, that wouldn't be bad. What about Milner?
Yeah, throw in Milner.
Any chance that Villa can lure him back?
Yeah, and then what? You could get Young too. The boys are back in town.
But do you think there's any chance that Milner can be lured?
I think there's a big chance.
Really?
You look at City. City probably don't want to pay some corrupt UEFA guy 50 million. I mean, they'll gladly give 50 million to someone for a player, but I mean, like they're gonna get hampered by financial fair play, and they have to turn it around because you look at their and they can get rid of homegrown players now too because they don't need as many on their roster for the Champions League. They only need 5 instead of 8 because their roster got smaller. So they don't care about getting rid of the English players.
That's fair. I just checked to make sure I wasn't going insane. Lescott will be on a free this summer. His contract runs out at the end of June.
Boom. All right.
So is he your first signing?
Yeah, might as well be. Just get him in there, get him in,
And
as
if
likely as a villain on England that to go with the scale because I mean he was on England.
yeah,
I don't know. That's
so,
exciting. Him three at the back. No one plays with two strikers in the Premier League really.
so I mean, with three at the
But
back,
three at the back, it would be great. I mean, look at Hull City played three at the back pretty well.
and I think the really interesting thing, if it is those three at the back, which are, would be Vlar, Akora, Lescott.
Cora is fast, and he could play on the right of those three.
I think so, but to me, the really interesting part is that those three are strong enough defensively that you could really let loose the two wings back there. So you could still play five at the back, but you could play a really offensively minded five at the back.
Then
If
you could
that's
well, what
not
you
an
could do is
oxymoron.
you could play Loughton at the right, and then you could have Grealish and just say you don't have to defend.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's
then
fair
because
too.
what you could do is you could slide, especially if you had Baker or Clark. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully Lescott and Villar would stay injury free. But if you have either Baker or Clark, they can actually play with their left foot. And what you could do is you could kind of shift to a back four kind of. I don't know. It'd be kind of like it's kind of hard to just explain it, but it
I,
wouldn't. You would have four players who were defensive minded, and then your two defensive midfielders. Loughton going forward is good. He's a good crosser.
he is. I
And
think. I think if
then
we're
it
going to
would
insist
really
on
allow you to play like two proper strikers, which is what needs to happen. Long story
Yeah, and
short.
and I think if we're going to insist on playing Leandro Bacuna as a right back, doing it with those three solid center backs there is the way to do it because Leandro Bacuna should not be relied upon defensively. But if you're going to
No,
use
no, if
him at
he
the right
goes and
back,
makes a defensive contribution, like sweet, like
yeah, exactly. But he won't be needed to if you've got Vlara, Cora,
yeah,
Lescott,
except when you have to play a back six and bunker. But
which
and
will
at
be
that
half
point,
of Villa's
at that
matches.
point, like okay, but yeah, that's why I think you need a defensive mid, someone or at least someone to pair alongside Delph, someone who's not really a runner but maybe more of a passer. I don't know. I don't think Westwood is. I don't know, kind of a someone who's like a hard man, like someone who's going to put in the tackles and pick up some cards, but
Yeah,
I
so
don't
someone
see
in like the
Westwood as that
Petrov
guy.
mold.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, yeah. So an old, salty, pissed off guy.
Gareth Barry,
Okay, I'm happy with that. Get him on loan.
cynical, make some professional fouls. I don't know, get sent off once. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
At the end of the year when you're going back to City on loan, who knows? Like,
Yeah, it's I so with 15 million, I think Villa could do a fair amount. There's been the rumors of a Chicharito signing. I don't think he's
no,
coming
thank you,
over. Hmm?
no, thank you. We already have Bent. It
Yeah, and
doesn't make sense now.
now that Bent is coming back, I would tend to agree, but I wouldn't think it's going to happen anyway. But there's enough players out there that you can snag for the 6 to 10 million range that you could get one or two big impact players with 15 million.
Oh, you could if you get Lescott for free, and then if you loan Barry maybe for 5 million, then you can
Mhm.
spend 10 million on an attacking midfielder, which is the other hole.
Yeah, there
And I
needs to be
mean,
some link
we
there.
could
That's
be just in trouble regarding left backs. We might not. I don't think we're getting one actually, because that makes sense if you don't need that one to play three at the back.
yeah.
Like
Uh,
I mean, Baker, like I said, Baker or Clark can get shifted there in a pinch, and even if you're playing with because you look at Villa, like 2009 Villa, they played with four center backs, and everyone else could go forward really. And what are you gonna Downing in 2010? Downing made like one tackle, I think.
that sounds about right.
That's
Given the way
like the
he
most
played.
Downing thing ever. Like if you're allowing everyone to go forward and playing like that defensively, you look at why Villa started conceding, I think, a lot of set pieces. Well, one, you had Stephen Warnock. Two, like if you have three at the back, you're always going to have an aerial threat attacking set pieces and also defending set pieces, especially when you bring someone like Benteke and Kozak back. You're going to be
Hmm.
solid.
Yeah, it's true. I- the more and more I think about it, the more and more optimistic I get about this. I
Yeah,
wanted
I don't
to.
know. I really just changed my opinion completely in the last 30 minutes.
I'm glad to see that we've done that. I just
Yeah.
wanted to mention, I asked on Twitter just as we were going live, how can Villa rebuild, or can Villa possibly rebuild with 15 million? And we got a few different responses that I felt, why not highlight? Because hey, people are writing in. I like this.
Yeah, yeah,
Shelley
exactly.
Osborne. Shelley Osborne says it's pretty easy. We can go ahead with Guzan, Kelly on loan, Vlar, Lescott, Cresswell for 6 million. That's a decent back line. I would love to see
Martin
Villa bring
Kelly
in
on
Cresswell.
loan.
Yeah,
Martin Kelly's career has just gone down the toilet. Like everyone, oh, he's an ex-England captain like last year, 2 years ago or something. What happened to him this year? Was he like literally didn't hear about him once?
yeah, and so
Um,
he should be able to be
I'm pretty
gone.
excited about Cresswell.
Yeah, I would love to see him. She also recommends keeping some of the people. We've got Akora, Westwood, um, and then she throws out a couple of names here, and let me know what you think of these. Piazzone on loan.
Piazon on loan, that would be great.
Any chance that Villa get that?
Yeah, I think the Bertrand situation worked well for Chelsea. They put someone in the shop window. I think they could do another thing like that.
Yeah,
Why not?
absolutely.
Why not? It's a better. I'm just worried about since you can only have one loan signing from a Premier League club.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to
Uh,
blow it.
you want to save it for January, I think.
Yeah.
Because
Um,
like, what if everything hits the fan, I guess, and Villa find themselves like where Sunderland found themselves this season. I mean, I guess someone has to make a great escape about every year. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't always happen, but
why not us? She also
because we're
has
bad.
Kakatani and Barnetta. Both she thinks at about 3 million apiece.
Tranquillo Barnetta, how old is he?
I have no idea off the top of my head. I can look it up fairly quickly though.
Barnetta, maybe.
For 3 million, what do you think? I mean, he's
That's a
29
fifth of
years
your
old.
budget. He's 29.
Yeah, he's 29. He's coming over from Schalke, if he were to come. Coming over from Schalke.
Yeah, Schalke. Yeah, I mean, yeah, less than who's at Leverkusen, but yeah, he's serviceable. I think more cover in midfield. Depends what happens with El Ahmadi.
Mhm.
Like if maybe I think El Ahmadi's great cover off the bench again, like instead of Silla. I think if we can just get Silla out loaned somewhere, maybe see if he does anything. You know what we should buy is Frimpong. That would be hilarious.
I
That'd be
don't think that.
awesome.
A couple of the other responses that we got Keith Campbell said, "Don't know that a rebuild is needed. Number 10 winger super sub striker can be done for 15." What do you
Yeah, and
think?
then there's your wingers, Grealish, super sub strikers, Bent, and number 10.
Yeah,
Like I said, yeah, I think if you spend 10 million at a Cam,
yeah. I
I
think
think 10 million at Cam would have seen us land Kiyotake last summer. That's the thing.
yeah.
Buy someone from Japan squad. If you want a fun team to watch this summer at the World Cup, watch Japan because if they can just get fouled near the area, they have about four guys who could solidly hit a set piece.
Yeah, they should be fun to watch this summer. We've got Villa Lee. Says that 15 million should be committed to refurbishing the loos and painting the handrails.
Okay, I need a summer job, so um, that's
Jack
sorted.
Lindsay,
So
painter
yeah,
extraordinaire.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. 15 million, it's not as bad as we originally thought. It's so much better than 7 million. It's more than twice as good. It's like at least
that's mathematics.
yeah, well, I mean, I'd say it's at least 3 times as good as 7 because just because of the 10 million threshold, some clubs like every club that Villa is going to try to buy from is going to be like, look at all this money that you just got. Give some of it to us for this player or the deal's off.
Yeah, it's true.
Honestly. Why
Having
wouldn't
the
you hold out? Why
ability.
wouldn't you hold out for like an extra million if the dude's worth like 6? Sell him for 7. Like that. I think both parties can see that that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think so. I think Villa should be able to do quite a bit with 15 million this summer. I'm also
Where
kind
do
of
you see
excited.
the biggest hole? Sorry, go on.
I'm kind of excited by the prospect that Lambert may be bringing in non-prospect type players.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Because some players have really developed the last year, and you could just it's really Lambert's just kind of like piecing it together. It's just what the squad doesn't need an overhaul, like some of the people were saying, and like I think we are both of that opinion.
yeah, I'm thinking it needs an overhaul if I think of the squad that we saw in the last 3 matches.
Yeah, but that's
But
because
if
Benfica was there.
Yeah, and if we remember that Kozak is coming back, that we had, all sorts of injuries, we didn't have a Cora there. When you remember that players like those are coming back, that Benteke should be back in November or December, it suddenly does. I would agree with what people are saying on Twitter. We don't need an overhaul. We need a few big key pieces. Um, and I would tend to agree with you. We want either a defensive mid or someone at left back. I would love to see us bring in a solid left back.
Yeah, a left back's good, I think. But again, if you're going to play that 3-5-2 and just say whatever, I think Grealish should start from day one.
I'd like
Why
to see
not?
him. My worry would be that if he gets in a funk, it's a bad confidence issue. I
Yes, you
wouldn't
set him
mind
on loan
seeing
for the
him.
second half of the season.
I wouldn't mind seeing him be used as a sub from day one.
Like Januzaj this
Yeah,
year on United, because he won't be able to play the whole. I mean, he might be able to play the whole
he might.
season
He had a full season. He had a full season of a relegation fight
of
playing 90 minutes.
more games in the lower
Yeah,
leagues. You play more games, and I think getting kicked around by all the fat old center backs has probably been a good experience, I guess, for him. Builds character. Um, so
but
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
So
I think he can definitely be used in some capacity at least, and Lambert's going to have to experiment a lot in the preseason, I think, just to try to do some tinkering, try to get it right.
yeah,
He probably has a decent idea of what he's going to have to work with, and at least he knows that he's not going to have a big budget too. So
yeah. That's true. He should be able to cobble something together with
he's
this.
probably
50.
known for a while. I think if Villa get off to a good start of the season, I think we could see, especially if the club don't get sold, we could see him getting a contract extension maybe of 2 years.
I could see that.
And I would be in favor of that if Villa are, I don't know,
There's
what,
there's
30,
enough.
if they had 30 points by Christmas, please extend him.
Yeah, at this point, there's enough variables that I'm not even going to think about a Lambert extension until, we start eliminating some of those.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean,
Probably
because
fair.
there's a lot of easy reasons to see, oh yeah, extend him, and there's a lot of ways to see that, oh, holy hell no, please no.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I say we punt that one for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, a bit too optimistic, but hey, anyways,
The Holtecast, where we bring your optimism up a level.
or up all the levels. Like, what,
I enjoy this. Suddenly you're just chomping at the bit. Oh yeah, Villa are going to qualify for Europe next year.
no, probably, I'd think about it, and I'm like, yeah, probably not. Because there are players like Alan Hutton who are going to be worked back into the squad, it looks like,
Probably
so.
not. You are still hedging your bet.
Can Hutton play left back?
Ugh,
Do we want to know that? Do we want to find out?
no, I want nothing to do with that experiment.
Yeah, so for reasons like that, maybe 10th is probably a good place to shoot for.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, something that actually a lot of the young players always get a chance to participate in. It's coming up. It starts tomorrow, I guess. It's May 23rd through the 25th. Is the Hong Kong Soccer Sevens. So the 10 or so players from Villa flew down there the other day, and they were training today. So if you're not familiar with the tournament, they actually have two tournaments. A main tournament where it's mostly developmental sides or youth sides from clubs, and they have a Masters tournament where it's over 35. So I guess Jurgen Klinsmann's played in that in the past, some other players, but yeah, there's 16 teams in it, six from the Premier League. The others besides Villa are Manchester City, Chelsea, Newcastle, newly promoted Leicester City, and Sunderland. There's actually a team called it's like the Shanghai Cricket Club or something, I think. Someone's cricket club, and I was like, well, this is
Sweet.
strange.
We're going back to
But
the early days of football.
yeah. But yeah, a couple U21 sides like Guangzhou Evergrande, I think, and Kichi FC, some of the Chinese sides. So yeah, it's good experience for some of the youth players.
It is, and it's really interesting to keep reading the interviews and seeing the tweets and whatnot of all of the Villa players who are really excited. Jack Grealish in particular is over the moon about the Villa's chances to win this thing and his chances of being the best there. Um,
Yeah, he could very well be the best player there.
he's a little cocky, and on the one hand, I
That's
kind
what
of
you
want to.
like.
Yeah, I know. On the one hand, it's like, you're kind of annoying, but on the other hand, screw it. He's our best. He's our best prospect. Be cocky, dude. It's a joy to listen to him be so cocky about something like this.
Yeah, I guess he got interviewed by the South China Morning Post, and that it went on the news. I don't know how much Chinese anyone in Villa can speak besides some of the PR people, but
I'm pretty certain there was a English translation of that that came across News Now the other day.
oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. But I mean, if they were interviewing him for the local news, I'm saying I don't know what. I mean,
oh, okay.
I'm sure everyone there speaks English, but
Yeah, it is Hong Kong after all. I mean, remember that was England until a decade ago.
yeah.
That was
I
Britain, I
guess
believe.
funny thing, the flight attendant was a Birmingham City fan,
And
so they got a good laugh.
yeah,
But
at least she wasn't in charge of flying. Otherwise, they probably would have gone down.
well, there was a lot of other people on the plane too, assumedly. I don't
I'm
think it's
I'm really
chartered
sad
a.
that you just crapped all over that joke.
Yeah, but
I'm a little
they
hurt by
escaped
that.
relegation.
Yeah, they did, but a few years ago, it was bad. I'll admit. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. I'm not sure if there's really much way for us to follow along other than official reports. Uh, you
Yeah,
know,
they're the one of the official bloggers for the or official journalist for the club had just a post today, and yeah, I'm not. I don't think any of it's on. There'll probably be some highlight packages on AVTV.
yeah, and if you just listen to the official bloggers and journos, everything is going wonderfully. Speaking of which, by the
Oh
way,
yeah,
Aston Villa,
exactly.
hire me for that gig.
Yeah, do
I,
it.
I I'm really good at being
You won't
optimistic. I
regret it.
I can lie through my teeth with the best of them.
Yeah, so maybe next year you can go swelter in the 32-degree heat with
God,
all the
yeah.
other
Ugh,
Englishmen in Hong Kong.
gross. A bunch of Englishmen going, what the hell is this weather?
What are son? Like, come on, it can't be that bad. They're training like early in the morning. It doesn't get that hot yet.
Yeah, I don't know. You're in the tropics there for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, you're probably right, I
Always
guess.
humid.
That's true. So,
Ugh. I mean, the
but I
reports
think
we
it's
started.
good preseason. I guess the season just ended, but some
Yeah,
training
right.
for
Postseason training?
some of the young guys.
I
Yeah,
almost feel badly
getting
for
the
footballers. They don't really get much of an off.
oh, okay. And you can be less god and sit on the bench and collect 90K a week. Why do you feel bad for
So
them?
those footballers I don't feel badly for, but the guys that are starting every match.
Yeah, I guess. Boo-hoo.
I know.
Kick a ball around.
You gotta run 10 miles a game.
Only if you're Lam.
Okay,
Everyone
that's
else
true.
probably like 6. Kick
Well,
the
have
ball around.
have
Yeah.
you got anything else left for today?
No, I think that was it. There you didn't have anything else from Twitter.
No,
So
nothing else from Twitter, which is perfectly fine. I was glad to get all the responses we did. Thanks to everyone for tweeting back at us today.
yeah, appreciate it. So I
And be sure to check out our new video series. I put it on the post, but we've started a quick little transfer talk video series where we're taking you through the Villa transfer news and rumors, and we're going to try to do that every week if at all possible.
so Lescott even looks more likely of a prospect than we originally had thought the other day.
Yeah, if we redid that, I would bump him up to a 4 now.
Yeah, definitely. So, but that just shows you how quickly things can change. And
Abs.
yeah, hopefully we'll have some more news shortly on players coming in. I think doing business before the World Cup can be good because people's values are inflated, but with the situation at the club, it's hard to know really what's going on a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll do everything we can to keep you up to date on that.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for joining us. Remember, we're still on YouTube and BTR, iTunes, Stitcher, and yeah, be sure to check out the new video series. But thanks for joining Robert and I today on the Holtecast.